Good evening to each and everyone. This is a boy JFC Garvan with the one and only Kenrick Pittnight, one of the greats. Welcome back, Mr. Pittnight. Because you are the one that really start off this incredible journey that we're on. And
Yeah, man.
you were one of the first interview, and this platform been taken off since then. Almost 400 subscriber, less than a year. So,
Yes, yes,
really
yes,
appreciate it, and thank you again to come on. And it's the World Cup season,
yes.
and
Yeah, man.
right
That one I
now
just want
we
to say.
all in our World Cup mood and vibes.
Yeah,
Talk a little bit about the World Cup today. Anything you want to say?
yes. But I want to say, off the bat, this is a much needed program, and I was happy to get on board and support you. Because if we can get other persons talking about football, the game that we love, then it's always a good thing. And I know your platform is gonna keep growing as God blesses you on your program. So keep it up, keep up the good work.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed, I kind of changed up the platform a little bit too, because I'm not
Yes,
only doing on the sports. I'm gonna do some conscious talk where the last video that I do the other day, about our our generation different from the generation today. I don't
okay.
know if you really see that one, but that was a very nice topic. A lot of people been telling me because most of the time when I do a video like this, I normally put some positive talks in it.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
people always tell me like, why you don't do this and why you don't. So I tried it, and I'm getting a whole lot of feedback, a whole lot of love from it.
Yes.
So one day you can probably be a part of that program too. It's just all about the youths of today and what we can do to improve the country and a whole, or the younger generation, how we can help them in life. So, you just look at topic like those. But
Yes.
tonight we're here to talk about some football because, reach to that stage now where it's do or die.
Yes,
You know,
yes, definitely. Do or die. We're in the playoffs.
yes, sir. And,
Hmm.
it's the fittest of the fittest. You know, you have to
Yes.
have a game plan
Hmm.
because this round is no joke. So,
No.
what's your take on the World Cup so far?
Well, the World Cup so far has been full of surprises. Um, to put the controversy of the World Cup being hosted in Qatar aside, because that ship has sailed and it makes no sense to keep flogging that dead horse. The World Cup is in Qatar, and it was only right for the world to just get on board, knowing that there's nothing that you could do about it at that point in time. The decision was made before this current FIFA administration came in, so it makes no sense for persons to be asking them questions about it. The Qatar is the host. We accepted it, and we should just move on to enjoy this beautiful show. That being said, once the World Cup started, the results on the field were nothing that we expected. We saw some of the more fancied teams not performing as we expected them to perform. The chief among them is Germany. I mean, what a shocker. Nobody expected Germany to go out in the first round. And that happened. I mean, Belgium is another team that failed again. Argentina got humbled by Saudi Arabia. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody expected that. So there's been a number of shocks and upsets on the field so far, which is always good for the game. Because the game is always good when the underdogs per se prevail. So it has been a World Cup so far of shocks and upsets, but we love it.
Yeah, and that's well said because this World Cup, to be honest, I watched the Ghana. One of the most excited game for me was the Ghana and Portugal. I'm
Yes.
telling you, that one keep me on the edge of my seat to know that
Yes.
there's just a little country from Africa, little
Hmm.
Ghana, with all those big names, Bruno Fernandes, Cristiano Ronaldo, and name it.
Yes.
Some world class players calling to us on paper. They should have won that by 5 or 6 goals to nothing. And
Mhm.
Portugal was lucky to come away with that victory.
So speaking
Yeah,
about luck, the issue I find with the African teams, it's an issue over the years of, I would say, indiscipline. You cannot fault the African teams for skill man for man in terms of skill and ability on the ball. They're right up there with the best of them, very skillful. But the problem I have with the African teams is that they're so indisciplined in terms of keeping a proper team shape not going for the spectacular all the time. Sometimes simple really works. A simple pass or a simple shot. You don't have to be trying to make the best play that has ever been made in the history of football, which I tend to find that the African teams tend to do. Try to overdo things, try to use their flair at a time when it's not necessary. And they lose a lot of opportunities because of that. So that indiscipline of just not playing simple football is why the African teams are not dominating the World Cup. When they get that right, I predict that when the African teams get the discipline right, just playing to a proper structure, they most certainly will be going deeper in the competition and probably even win it.
Yeah, because the last show that I did, that one of the thing I was talking about that I would love to see an African nation, before my time on this earth, I would love to see an African nation lift the World Cup. And I think that in this World Cup, I was looking on Senegal and Morocco, and I was saying that for me, they are the two best team as a unit in as an African team in this World Cup. If you notice how the Senegal team play, they play like they want to reach somewhere. They play together, even without their top striker Sadio Mane. They still finding needs and ways, and they're playing together. Expect different from the goalkeeper make two blunder in the first game, which we know is a world class goalkeeper. But
Yes.
I think they can push England, but I think England will come up with the victorious though.
I think so too. I think England has too much firepower to allow this team to prevent them from progressing. And looking at the chart, I do expect in the round of 16 match tomorrow that it should be England over Senegal and also France over Poland. Senegal, good team, very skillful, but I think the same thing that I described earlier, just the indiscipline in crucial times of the match, and just the inability to make good decisions in key areas of the pitch might affect them negatively. And the English has the firepower to exploit any mistakes the Africans might make. So I think the English would get the better of Senegal. I don't think it's going to be easy for them, but I think the English will progress to the round of 16, to the quarterfinals, I should say.
Yeah, we understand that, but we see three different type of England in this World Cup so far. I don't know
true.
if you noticed.
I did.
The first game they go all gun blazing,
Free flowing,
and the second game I don't know what the coach was thinking.
defensive, trying not to lose.
And the third game you get a piece of
Workmanship.
both.
You get a workmanship performance.
A
It's
workmanship
true.
performance. Yeah.
Yes. But that has been the criticism of Gareth Southgate over the years, that he tends to let the moment affect his team selections and his tactics in a way that it shouldn't. Based on the current makeup of the English team, I would recommend that they play an attacking game. I do not think England has the players to say that we're going to let our defense take us to a championship. I do not think so. I think the strongest part of their team is their offense. Their defenders, Harry Maguire, no disrespect to him, but nobody will put him among the best elite defenders in the world. You understand? John Stones, good defender as well for Manchester City. But again, he's a good player, but nobody will put him in the upper echelons of top defenders in the world. So their wing backs also, I mean, we all know what Kyle Walker has to offer. Very good right back going forward, very good right back defensively. And we all know their left back is pretty solid as well. However, we would not say that these players are dominating the entire world. And Jordan Pickford, good, solid goalkeeper. But again, we would not put him in the top 5 top goalkeepers in the world, let alone in this World Cup. So again, I do not think England should rely on their defense to take them to a title. They are a very good attacking team right across their top 5, from Sterling, Rashford, Jack Grealish, Harry Kane. I mean, these are top class attackers that they have, who can figure in the top 10 of attackers in current world football. They should exploit that. They should allow them to really go and show what they can do, and stop taking up the attacking players for these square pegging round hole defensive players that just really stymie their attack, and so they look really inept. They look like they can't play when they do that. They should just really go gun ho with their attacking team, and it's their best chance, I think.
Yeah, and that's what because over the years we always either say England and Brazil, 99% of Jamaican.
Yeah.
And the English team looks solid in the midfield, midfield wise, and they got good. But what you said in the defense, I think that injury to Reece James, I think that would probably be one of the, because he could have been like a weapon for England in this last stages of the tournament.
That's true. That's true. But
and also Ben Chilwell.
Yes. But those two wing backs are more enterprising than the two that are currently playing. Kyle Walker is very good defensively. That man is like a machine. However, Reece James has a lot more dexterity in his play. Trent Alexander-Arnold is very good going forward, but we all know defensively his shortcomings. So I'm not sure if England has the solid defense to really protect him. And I do not think they do, which is probably why he's not been playing. At Liverpool, we know that Trent goes forward a lot and creates a lot of goals going forward, but he has a Fabinho, a Jordan Henderson covering for him in the back. So he doesn't have to, Liverpool doesn't lose too much defensively when Trent goes forward. But I'm not sure England has those players. So Trent probably won't play again for the rest of the tournament unless it's an emergency situation. I expect Kyle Walker and Kieran Trippier to share the right back for the rest of the tournament. So again, Reece James would have been a more complete player, but unfortunately he's not there.
Yeah, and what you said, well said, because if you notice, Jordan Pickford have a mistake in him, and also Harry Maguire. So I've checked there with those two, that will create a whole lot of problems for England. And Senegal, I think their biggest downfall going to be in this one. They don't got much going forward. And Mendy seems like he got a whole lot of mistake in him too. So we got two goalkeepers in that game tomorrow that got mistake in their game.
Yes. Two goalkeepers that, Jordan Pickford has been trying to keep it pretty tight. He's not been messing around with the ball. We saw the mistake today that the goalkeeper from Australia did. I mean, that's a good goalkeeper. Matt Ryan is a good goalkeeper. But unfortunately, that mistake is going to haunt him. He's probably somewhere in Qatar now crying his eyes out. But I'm sure his team will support him. But it's something that we've seen this World Cup, that the new modern way of football is to play from the back. Jordan Pickford doesn't do that well. And as long as he stays in his lane and does what he knows, control, go long, or play the short pass when it's on, and try not to be cute like Matt Ryan tried to do today, he should be fine. And as a member of the Goalkeepers Union, I would not want him to make a mistake, because, goalkeepers support goalkeepers. So I want him to just keep it simple and just play the game that he knows how to play and leave everything else for the Allisons to do and those other goalkeepers who are good with their feet.
Well said. So let me touch one more part on that on the England team before we go try to break Senegal down a little bit. We know that England been struggling with who they want to use in the attacking phase, because a lot of people been saying Mason Mount is the worst thing ever. But I think in this round, for me, not because he's a Chelsea player, but I think Mason Mount give England a balance differently from what they will get from Foden and even Raheem Sterling, because I think Mason Mount work rate and the effort he put in to link up defense and midfield with the attack, I think he put more work in, and especially in this lack of stage where you're gonna need people that willing to run and willing to sacrifice, I think that he should get the nod. I'm not saying over Sterling not having a good season overall. So I think they should drop Sterling and bring in Mason Mount with Phil Foden.
Okay. Well, I hear you, and I must say, Gavin, that I don't agree with that. Why I say that is that Sterling. Well, first things first. There's an old adage that we all know: form is temporary, class is permanent. Somebody can be off form, but once you have class, you have class. Sterling is a classy player. And Sterling is the type of player that when he's on the pitch, he garners a lot of attention. Defenders have to pay attention to him. He tends to get double teamed and triple teamed a lot. So players in world football know what Sterling can do. So it's when Sterling has the ball and he's running at you in that channel on the left, especially, he's gonna garner a number of attention because people know of the class that he possesses. He may not be in the form that he needs to be, but class is permanent, form is temporary. It only takes one play for us to say that he's back in form. That being said, while Mason Mount gives a lot of work, especially defensively and dropping off into midfield, against a team like Senegal, I'm not sure if England needs that. I think the current midfield that England has should be enough to contain the Senegalese. So again, England should go with their best attacking players top three. I think Rashford has done enough to force himself into that top three. Initially, I would not put Rashford in the top three, but I think Rashford has done enough to force himself in. So likely, I think it's going to be Rashford with Harry Kane and Sterling. And at some point in time, as what they have been doing, they're going to bring Sterling out and bring in a Jack Grealish. Similar type of player, playing a similar position. Jack Grealish tends to slow the game down a lot. So I see England, especially if they are leading in the second half, they're going to just bring on Jack Grealish to control the game. And also on the other side, probably bring in a Phil Foden for Rashford. But Rashford, I think he has done enough. He's now on 3 goals, which is one of the top scorers in the league, if not joint top scorer in the World Cup. I think he has forced himself into the top 3. So
Oh, Pit Night Freeze.
yeah.
Okay, you're back.
Yes, I'm back.
Okay. Yeah, and hi, Mr. James. How you doing, cuz? Thank you for tuning. Cuz remember to hit the subscribe button, cuz. Yeah, man, it's me and Pit Night here. Yeah, so I was looking up on the Senegal team, and I see where they said I think the midfielder from Everton is out, and he's the key part of their team. So I didn't even do my research. So just now
Right.
I just did the research, and what you said, they don't need Mason Mount in that game because without Afisa Gay, I think that Senegal
It's going to be wide open
gonna be wide open because he's the one that control everything from
in
the
the midfield.
middle of the field. So
Yes,
what you
yes,
said
yes.
is well said.
Yes, even though they have Ismail Assar, who does some damage on the flank, without player like a Sadio Mane to really give that thrust up front, I do not think they're gonna have enough. I don't think they're gonna have enough. So I do think they're gonna come and compete and do well for themselves as an African country. But I do think they're not gonna have enough firepower to really overcome the English. But again, it has been a World Cup of surprises so far, so I'm prepared to be wrong. I would love to see an exciting game tomorrow. Let's see what they can do.
Because who would have tell that Cameroon would be the first team to get a first shot on Brazil goal and at least even score on Brazil
Yes.
to defeat Brazil.
Yes, exactly. And wasn't that a beautiful moment? I was so happy for Vincent Abubakar because this guy has been a servant of Cameroon football for a number of years. He's been there as a stabilizing factor, as a captain, trying to keep Cameroon football together when they were going through their turmoil. I'm not sure if you and the viewers remember a few years ago, Cameroon football went through some really lows. They went through some really turbulent period. Samuel Eto'o is now the president of football in 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 Cameroon, and he's been trying to do his best to overhaul the image of football in that country, and he's been doing a great job. He himself has refused to take a salary. He's just doing the job for free and giving the money that would have been given to him towards the players that need it and towards developing the football in the country. So kudos to him. Rigobert Song, you would have known Rigobert Song from his days
From his
at,
days playing.
at Arsenal and West Ham.
Yeah.
Yes. So he would have been in the English Premier League. So most of us would have known him playing. And I think his little brother Alex Song also played for Arsenal
Yes.
and Barcelona.
And Barcelona.
Yes. So I mean, that name is pretty familiar to most of us, but I'm happy to see ex-players taking control of their team. Traditionally, over the years, these African teams will always come to the World Cup with a European coach. Traditionally, but now I'm happy to see Senegal and Ghana have their own players, their own former players coming through as coaches and taking the team to the World Cup. I was so overwhelmed to see that, and it's something that I believe is a model for us here in the Caribbean to follow suit with. That nobody knows your culture than your own players. We just need to give the local players and local coaches the support, the same kind of support that we give to the expatriate coaches. We need to give to the local coaches as well. Not that I'm saying that the foreign coach we have is not doing a good job and should not be supported, but I'm just saying that whenever our local coaches are coaching, we need to give them the same support that we offer to the expatriate coaches.
And that's true, because if you don't get the chance, you will never reach your full potential. No one will never know what you are capable of doing. And that was some proud moment for me, to be honest, to sit and watch both of them on the sideline. I know that those are our former players that I used to watch.
Yes.
And they go back home and they're not staying away, but they're being a part of the program.
Exactly.
And that's a well taken from both African teams, to see exactly what they're doing. And trust me, they put down a fight, even if they go home, but they show the world that we can do it. And some of the most excited games, to be honest, come from those two teams, because they didn't sit back and lay over.
Talk about Cameroon. The same thing we spoke about Garvan at the top of the show, about how indisciplined they were, the African teams. Can you imagine if Cameroon had applied themselves with some discipline from match one? That match against Switzerland that they lost, they had no reason to lose that match. And it's because of the same indiscipline. They're trying to use a trick here, a trick there, when it's not necessary. A simple pass, a simple tracking the player, trying to do something simple. They gave the ball away silly, trying to do something silly, gave the ball away, and it ended up that they would have lost that game. Ghana themselves had a match that they drew at 3-3. That match they should have won that match, and had they won that match, they would have made it through to the second round. So the indiscipline that creeps into the African teams, which was terrible years ago, it's a lot better now, but they have a lot ways to go. These players who are back there coaching, they would have been exposed to more structured football in Europe. Rigobert Song would have been exposed to it at West Ham and Arsenal. I mean, I'm sure, I forgot the coach of the Ghanaian team. I remember when he was playing for the Ghana national team as well, he would have been exposed to structured football, and that is what they need, just a structure, because they're already skillful. We know that they're skillful. Just put some structure to their game, and they'll beat the world.
I think the Ghana coach have some affiliate with Borussia Dortmund.
Yes. I remember when he was playing.
I don't know if you remember the best African team I ever see was this Ivory Coast with Didier Drogba, the Toure's brother, and name it. And that was one of the teams that I thought would have win the World Cup and put Africa as one champion. And because of the same indiscipline,
boom, there you go.
Didn't they didn't
win.
Fulfill their
yes.
So you're right. You're 100% right with that one.
Let's go back out of the World Cup and go to the AFCON, the African Cup of Nations. The North African teams, which is like the Arabic teams, the Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia, those countries do better in the AFCON than the West African teams. The West African teams are much more skillful, but they're less organized. The team of Morocco, these teams, because most of their players play in Europe, probably were born in Europe, they have a lot more European style of player with their European structure. So once you have structure and you're organized, it's easier for you to express your skill. But you cannot use skill and then you expect the structure to come afterwards. Put the structure in place first, and then you use your skill to exploit within that structure. And if the West African teams can do that, they'll have a lot more success than they're having.
I think one of the biggest problem, while we're still talking about African football, I think one of the biggest problem why they don't, I think it's a lack of finance, because most of the time when they reach on this big stage, I think that every player is trying to play individually because they're probably trying to look a contract so they can. So I think that's one of the biggest problem African football got. A bit all the
That's true.
talents.
Yes. Which is why Samuel Eto'o was quite adamant in changing how they went about the business of football in Cameroon. He went in, he faced a lot of opposition, and he decided that he's going to take the job as the president of football in Cameroon, and he won't take a salary. You understand? A lot of people, they become the president of whatever football in the African nation, and they just use it to enrich themselves. So it kind of sounds familiar to happen in some.
Yeah, it sounds familiar to Jamaica.
Exactly. So they go in and they sit in the position and they're using it to enrich themselves, getting the kickbacks from here and there. But yet the football on the ground is not being developed. Samuel Eto'o has gone in there and said, listen, that's not going to happen. He does not want a salary, naturally, because he doesn't need it. This guy played for about 15 years, 20 years in Europe. He's made himself a millionaire out of football. He's one of the top strikers in the world. Played for Mallorca, many years for Mallorca, then Barcelona, then come in and had some stints in England. So we know what Samuel Eto'o can do. And we know that he would have done well for himself. I think he would have made good decisions with his money in terms of investment over the years. So he's come to take control of his country's football. He doesn't want a salary. He gives the money that they would normally pay him towards the development of football. The young players coming in, they get that money. And because of that, the players are so loyal to pay for him. They want to play for him. They want to do well for their country. They're not seeking to show up themselves on a major stage so that they can get a contract. They know that the administration is behind them and is going to look out for them to make sure that they get the success that they need. So Samuel Eto'o is a shining example of what needs to happen in African countries and also here in the Caribbean. Once you get into the seat of power, you're not there to enrich yourself. You're there to make sure that the business of football is executed on the ground, in the grassroots areas, in the way that it should, so that the country can benefit from it in the short to medium and long term. So kudos to Samuel Eto'o. I'm really proud of him for doing what he did.
Yeah, that job was amazing. To listen to his interview, even this guy from your team, Liverpool, the Matic guy, when after the team qualified for the World Cup, he said he want to come out of retirement because he's a big name player, and yes. Samuel Eto'o told him to stay in retirement, and I think that was a big, bold, and brave move. Exactly. For one of the best defender from that country.
Exactly. So because Samuel Eto'o knows that he has young defenders coming through that he's been working with. So Matic did not make himself available for the qualifiers. So Samuel Eto'o says thanks but no thanks, and we have to respect that. I mean, Samuel Eto'o is trying to do what he needs to do to make sure that the country develops footballers and get them out there. What Matip should do, if he loves his country, which I'm sure Matip does, is to say, listen, what I can do is to get a young player or two into a Liverpool academy, and I'm sure that will help his country, or get a player or two into an academy in Europe, using his connections to make it happen, so that player can develop the right way and in a sense, help to push Cameroon football on. So that's somewhere that he can show that he has the country at heart. And if he really wants to come out of retirement, I'm sure there's a AFCON tournament to qualify for. He can go ahead and help.
Yeah, and that's well said. So for tomorrow game, your score prediction.
All right. So tomorrow's game, to be honest with you, I think England gets the better of Senegal 2-0. I think it's going to be probably a goal in the first half and another late goal in the second half. So I think it's about 2-0 for England over Senegal. The other game, France, Poland.
We're going to talk about France a little bit before we go to their score.
Yeah.
My score prediction, I'm looking for probably a 3-0 England, because once England take the lead, Senegal gonna go all out, and with the attacking force that England got, they're gonna hit them on the counter.
I think so too. I think so too. So I think it's going to be a comfortable win for England, probably about 2-0. I do not think Senegal has enough to trouble this England team, but I think it still could be a good game. And I'm hoping that I'm wrong. I'm hoping that the Senegalese come over and say, "Hey, Picnic, take that. Look what we did."
Yeah.
So I would not mind that at all. But it is that it's going to be. I think it's going to be a stroll for England. So France are going to roll out their big guns tomorrow. I'm sure of it. They rested a number of players for the last game against Tunisia, which ended up with them losing that game. I don't think they would have liked to lose that game, because coming into a short tournament like this, a World Cup tournament, you want to maintain a winning habit. But it was a luxury that they would have qualified early, so that they could have brought in some of their players to look at a couple of players to see how they would have been adjusted to the conditions in Qatar, and to give some players a run out just in case they might need them later on in the tournament. So I think they return to their big guns tomorrow. Definitely Mbappe comes in from the start. Dembele comes in as well. I'm not sure if I think he missed the last game. Griezmann's going to be there as well. So I think their big guns come back. Rafa Varane comes back. So I think the French team will bring their big guns back for tomorrow's match.
Yeah, for me, I think so too. But I think the real test is gonna be the other round. But France, I see they look the same way like Brazil, make all those changes, and the tempo drops. So that can be a little worry too. You don't know if they're gonna bounce back. We know these short tournaments. Once you get a rhythm, you have to try to stay on it. So you're looking all 20 plus players to be on the same rhythm, and it didn't look like all 20 plus players was on the same path, both for France and for Brazil and Portugal too.
Yes, that's true. So what I did notice as well is that, one thing I expected, Tunisia has a lot of French influence. It's in North Africa, but a lot of the Tunisian players were born in France or are naturalized from France. So I'm not surprised that Tunisia really went after France the way they did. So, it's like a big brother. You want to get one over your big brother, so you really go hard at them. And France would have anticipated that. A lot of the Tunisian players, they play in France. So, they're going to want to make their mark. So I'm not surprised on the result. Knowing that France never needed it, I'm not surprised that Tunisia played out of their skin to get that result. That being said, I think they get back to their rhythm tomorrow, because I do not think the Poland team has enough to trouble France. We know that Poland made it through because the African team just needed to score one more goal to eliminate Poland. But Poland made it through based on that. So Poland, I do not think not the African team. Poland was in the group with Mexico, right?
Yeah. Poland was in Mexico, Argentina, and Saudi Arabia.
So not the African team. Mexican team would have needed to score. If Mexico had won their match by, I think, 2 or 3 clear goals, they would have been the one playing France tomorrow, as opposed to Poland. So Poland made it through, not because they dominated their group, but because Mexico took too long to start playing. If Mexico had played hard enough from day one and been a little bit more enterprising, then Mexico could have probably been the one playing here. So I do not think the Polish team will trouble France too much. We all know what Lewandowski can do. He's a good player, top striker. He'll score if you give him a chance. But he has not exactly set the World Cup alight like Mbappe has. So I think Mbappe wants to show the world that he's the best striker in the world. He wants to finish as the top goal scorer in this tournament. So I think he's going to go gun-ho from minute one. And if the game ends tomorrow with Mbappe scoring a hat-trick, do not be surprised.
Well, I won't be surprised because with the Poland team, they're a solid unit, and it depends on Lewandowski. but they got no creativity.
Yes.
And I've been watching them for the last maybe 5 or 6 years. They always find a way to score one goal
Mhm.
and then defend it. But because they got that wonder one in a million striker, Lewandowski,
Quick
but
question
without
though.
the supply,
Mhm.
I don't think he's gonna be able to score.
Yeah, quick question though. Who's been the best player for Poland thus far in the World Cup?
I think it's Matikash, the right
Actually,
the right
actually,
back, the right back.
Chesney, the
Oh, Shagney,
goalkeeper.
yeah, and Shagney.
How many penalties has the goalkeeper saved?
I think was
Two
two.
penalties. Yes. So he's been their best player. This goalkeeper has been is it two penalties he saved? But he's been their best player. He's made a lot of saves. He's been making save after save after save after save. That match against Argentina, had it not been for him, it would have been 6-love. So
Yeah,
Chesney has been if your goalkeeper is your best player, it tells me that you're probably not as strong as you might think, because you just take your goalkeeper to not have a brilliant game, to have just a regular ordinary day, and you're down 3-love. So I think because Lewandowski is a solid number 9, really solid number 9, but you need creative midfielders to get the ball to him. I don't think Poland has a team to really break down France to get the ball to him. And I think the French themselves, they have too much firepower. And I think unless Chesney comes up with another string of 10, 15 saves tomorrow, I think he's going to be in for a long afternoon.
yeah, and that's true. So what's the score line for that game?
Oh, 3-0 France.
3-0 France.
Yes, Mbappe hat-trick.
Wow. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say with Shaq, my score prediction. I'm not gonna go that high because I think that Shagney is a very, very good goalkeeper,
He is.
and he's gonna take something special or magnificent to really
Beat him.
beat him. So I'm gonna say it's not gonna be that high, but probably about 2-0, two
Okay.
to 1-0.
Yeah.
Just because of that magnificent game I see put off against
Argentina.
Argentina.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
gonna give him the benefits of the doubt.
Okay, okay, fair enough. As a member of the goalkeepers union, I'm always good when goalkeepers get in their flowers. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind, I wouldn't mind if Shezzy has another wonderful game again and cause a few other youngsters around the world to want to put on the gloves and become goalkeepers. Because that's how most of us become goalkeepers in the first place. You see somebody make some brilliant saves or a brilliant game. I was like, oh wait, this is important. I could try this. So
yeah.
yeah, let's hope some players decide to become, some youngsters decide to become goalkeepers based on what Chesney does. So let's see.
Today I was playing soccer with my daughter, and the only thing she want to do is dive on the floor to save the ball.
Yes. Well, diving on the floor is one
I
thing,
guess
but diving on the floor properly is another thing, because diving you can hurt yourself if you don't do it properly.
yeah. So the before we touch on the earlier game today, that the Argentina gonna go up against the Netherlands.
Yes, that's the next round, but I'm not sure if you wanted to skip ahead that far. But if you want to talk about it from now, let's see. All right, so I must be honest with you, Galvan. I did not expect the Netherlands to beat the US.
Wow.
I expected an upset. I expected the US to get the better of the Netherlands. And while I didn't watch the entire game because I had tennis today, is that when I saw all the game started, the US were all over the Netherlands, and they should have been 2 up. If they had a clean, I think the US right now has a brilliant young team. Their team is young and exciting. Their captain's 23 years old.
23 years old.
They are the youngest team in the World Cup. Excellent model. Well done, US. I'm happy for you for that. US has been shedding its title of being pilfering talent from all over the world, and they have a lot of homegrown talent that has come through their development programs to represent the country. So I'm happy for them being a CONCACAF team. However, the US clearly needs a number 9. The US do not, because these kids, they're pretty young and they do not have the physical presence to trouble the opposition at this level. Van Dijk is a huge presence in the box defensively, and to have Christian Pulisic trying to get the better of a Van Dijk and the other guy there that plays for Man City, his name escapes me right now. Nathan Aki. These are really imposing figures in the box, and Danny Blind, Danny Blind is playing on the left there. It's an imposing figure. So these guys, they do not have the size to really trouble a team which is structured like the Netherlands. Had they had a proper number 9, let's say somebody of the ilk of I know they have this striker, I think his name is Wright, this young striker that comes off the bench sometimes, or maybe like a Timothy Weah was playing through the center, it would give them something that they could actually use as a focal point to get the defense unsettled. But if Christian Pulisic had taken that chance that he got play through on the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper made a brilliant save, had they taken that chance, we could have been thinking about a US going up against Argentina.
Yeah, I think if he did take that chance, I think the pressure on the Netherlands would have forced them to go from a back three to a back four, and then with Van Dijk, because the Netherlands switched that formation to protect Van Dijk, because we all know Van Dijk from that knee injury, he's kind of like
he's just going along.
Van Dijk need a little protection until he get back 100%.
Yes.
So I think that would have forced them to go to a back four, and then the US with that speed and the young legs, I think they would have co-op better with it. But I think that miss was that cost them that game.
Yes, exactly. And then the Netherlands went up the field and scored like a few minutes later, and that was all she wrote. But the United States bowing out of the World Cup at this stage, they are the last standing CONCACAF team. Would you say it has been a good World Cup or a bad World Cup for CONCACAF based on the results that we've had? What would you say?
Look on it, to be honest, I see Jamaica gonna have to put in a lot of work, because Costa Rica with that group, and they were fighting till the last minute to stay in the competition. That to show you that they were up against Germany, Spain, and Japan. And in the last kick of that game, they were standing a chance until Germany, run away. But they put up a fight, and they show if they get a weaker opponent and they go to play, they can play.
Exactly. So unfortunately that they didn't make it through. At one point when they were up 2-1 against Germany, I was just hoping that they would have hung on to that. And had they would have hung on to that result, then can you imagine, Gavin, Germany and Spain would have been exiting the World Cup at the group stage if Costa Rica had hung on to that 2-1 scoreline in the second half. But unfortunately, it didn't happen, and we know what happened. I mean, the German team turned on their class like we know that they could. But it is what it is. That it's good to see unfancied teams like Cameroon beating Brazil and Japan beating France and Spain, which is a monumental achievement. You would have beaten 2 former champions in the same World Cup. Yes, there have been 2 former champions coming from behind each time. Excellent record for this Japanese team. Kudos to them. And to see that they qualified for the World Cup in 1998 for the first time, the same time as Jamaica. We were in the same group with them, and Theodore Whitmore, the legend himself, Theodore Whitmore, would have scored 2 goals against Japan for us to beat Japan for our only World Cup win to date. And yet, the Japanese would have kicked on. They would have gone ahead. They would have done what they needed to do to push their football ahead. We know we can debate at length the things that they would have done differently from Jamaica to make sure that they would have become a staple at every World Cup subsequently to that one. But they did what they had to do, and the rest is now history. Japan is now a bona fide World Cup team. while we have not been able to make it there again since our maiden appearance all the way back in 1998.
And not only they stamp their name in it, they're playing to win it.
And they're playing like they belong there.
That they belong there.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, I guess we're gonna probably have to go back to the drawing board. I'm sure the powers that be at the JFF are doing whatever they need to do. I have no doubt that they're looking at this World Cup and looking at the models that have emerged from around the world. I'm a fan of what Cameroon is doing with Samuel Eto'o, and I'm putting it out there that if the JFF are not looking at what the people in Cameroon are doing, we probably need to start looking at it. Yes, there are going to be negatives, and do not focus on the negatives. Look at the positives. You can always look for positives, take the positives, expand on them, and learn the lessons and avoid the negatives so that you can actually fix the football in your local industry, in your local country, so that you can grow and compete. And that's what we want to see. Caribbean players growing, competing, not only Jamaica, but we want to see Haiti, we want to see Trinidad and Tobago, we want to see these Antigua, Guyana. These countries would have done well in the Caribbean Cup of Nations and also at the Gold Cup. We want to see our fellow Caribbean countries putting proper infrastructure in place and growing football in the region.
Yep. That's our dream. You know, before we even go any further, I don't know if you heard the news about King Pele.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
he wasn't responding to treatment. That's the last thing
yeah,
I
so
heard.
that was a sad news. You know, I just want to bring it across.
Yes,
You know,
so people pray
because
for
the
pray for
legend
King
of the
Pele.
game.
Pray for King Pele. And one of the
Yeah.
reasons to talk about Pele, to go back to one of the reasons why Jamaica is Jamaica's second team is Brazil. I mean, the legacy coming in post-colonial era, when you look at world football, and this from a country like us, which we are 90% African, 90% of African descent.
Listen,
When we look at world football, we would have seen the top teams like the French, the English, the Italians, the Germans, and you would struggle to see players of African descent playing in the earlier versions of the World Cup. But Brazil was always different. Brazil had a wide cross section of races representing them. Brazil is a diverse country, a huge country.
yeah.
It's a huge country, so they would have had a large collection of Africans, Europeans, and Native Americans making up that country. So when you see a Brazilian team play, it looks like what we would normally see when you walk into any classroom in Jamaica. You see black people, you see whites, you see Indians, you see Chinese. So you see all in Jamaica, because out of many one people. Brazil, in my opinion, represented that. So we had Pele, this young black boy with a flat nose like myself. You generally do not see people looking like that, playing and dominating. So we fell in love with that we were able to see ourselves being represented on the world stage through the Brazilian team. So for that, Pele has done a lot in raising the self-esteem of Jamaicans, of how we see football, of seeing ourselves as relevant, knowing that we can do it too, because Pele, at 17 years old, winning a World Cup, we know that it's possible. So from that perspective, I want to give all respect to Pele and his family, sending him good vibes, sending him prayers. I mean, he deserves it. He's done a lot for football, and football owes him a debt of gratitude for being such a great ambassador.
Yeah, well said, well said. Our prayers go out to him and his family because, trust me, without Pele, probably enough of us wouldn't fall in love with a beautiful game.
Yes.
And watching, he got a documentary,
Mm-hmm.
A movie of Pele, and it's on Amazon Prime. I don't know if you ever get the chance to watch it, but it's something magnificent,
Yes.
to really watch and see, how Pele come about.
Yes.
And those words where you said, like, we can't explain it better. It's really a nice a nice thing when you look at it. The other day I did a video of him, and it was very impressive. When you look on his goal, it was a 1,000 and I think 63 games, and it's 1,030 something goal. Right?
Yes,
Stats like that you can't beat, and
can beat.
all that's take off to the man himself.
Yes.
So when you look on the rest of the line out, the games, the upcoming games, where you got I think Brazil versus, that's the first one playing on Monday. Brazil versus Korea.
Okay. Yes, Monday we have Brazil, Korea, and we have Japan, Croatia. Now, I think my prediction for that game is that, to be honest with you, I think let's start with the Japan, Croatia. I think Japan progresses ahead of Croatia. While Croatia is a well-oiled team, they went to the final at the last World Cup. I think this Japanese team, if they do their hard running like they do, I mean, Japan is a second half team. In the second half, it's a brilliant team. It's almost like it's not the same team like the first half. If Japan plays that high pressing game, that hard running game, I do not think the old legs of Croatia. I mean, Luka Modric is a classy player, but he's not exactly a spring chicken. He's been around the block a few times. He's been doing it for a number of years. So while he's still classy, he may not be able to keep with the pace at which the Japanese play. So I do think that if the Japanese play with that pace that they've been showing against Spain and against Germany, they should get the better of Croatia and progress to the quarterfinals.
Yeah, for me, I think Japan is that wild card team. They're the team that nobody really talk about, but just now everyone just trying to look to see what Japan is doing. But I think it's too late. By the time they study the way Japan play, I think Japan gonna be a one step ahead of them.
I think so too.
Because Japan team, I don't know if you noticed, they look like they're the fittest team in the
I think so.
tournament.
I think so too. They're a second half team. They're a hard running team, and they seem to come alive in the second half. So I think it might be because the other team is getting tired, and their fitness might be a little bit better. So while their opponents are getting tired, they're just getting into the meat of their running. So they seem to be such a fit team, especially in the second half. So I do think the Croatian team may not be able to live with their pace, especially in the second half, unless the Croatian team puts them away from the first half and they're not able to recover. But if it gets to halftime at 0-0, then I think the Japanese will be a little bit too much for Croatia.
Because to how I see Japan play, in the first 20 to 30 minutes of the game, I think they sit back and they study their opponent,
Yes.
and then they try to hit. So
Exactly.
I think if Croatia gonna go all gun blazing on Japan gonna create a big upset.
Yes, I think so too. And then the next game on Monday would be Brazil, South Korea. Now, South Korea, I believe, has punched above their weight so far this tournament. They've had some good results. That last result that took them through, that nobody really expected them to beat. Who was it? They beat in the last game before they came. They were in the group with Belgium, right?
Yes.
So I think that
No, Korea wasn't in the group with Belgium. Korea was in Portugal group.
Portugal, not Belgium, Portugal, right? Portugal. So I didn't expect them to beat Portugal. I expected Portugal to beat them and top the group. But I mean, South Korea came second in the group. Portugal still topped the group, but I still expected the Portugal team to have gone through unbeaten. But that's not so. But on Monday, the South Koreans, their World Cup will come to an end because they would have run up into the big, bad Brazilian team. And this Brazilian team will be smarting after their loss to Cameroon, and they would want to remind the world that they are the most talented team in this World Cup 2022. And they are. They are the most talented team, they're the deepest team, and they are hungry to make a mark on world football. So I think Brazilian team will probably overrun South Korea. I would not be surprised if there's a lopsided score, like about 4 or 5-0. I would not be surprised. But I do not think that South Korea will be able to get anything from the Brazilian team come Monday.
As a Brazilian fan, I'm going to be direct and honest.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen Brazil play the way we expect Brazil to play. So this is a very tricky moment for all Brazilian fans across the world, because we know Brazil to always start the tournament with the flashiness and killing off games, but the thing I see Brazil do better than every team in this tournament, that Brazil 99% of the time never know how to do properly, was defend.
Yeah, they've been defending quite well.
It's a tricky one. So when the game starts, then I will probably can see if Brazil is really the favorite for this World Cup.
Yeah.
Because the first round, I see they were taking it slowly, even though Neymar get injured, even though you see that he wasn't putting out the effort or the chicks in the bag like Neymar normally used to. I see he's a more calm and mature Neymar, but they still take him out. But it's kind of tricky. I'm wondering if they're saving everything to go in the knockout stages. But
I think so too. I think Neymar probably plays tomorrow on Monday. And if he doesn't play Monday, though, I still think they still have enough to get past South Korea. So, but I do expect Brazil to get past South Korea and make it into the last 8.
Any score prediction for that one?
Oh, I already said I think 4 or 5, love. I think it's going to be a big score to Brazil. I think so. I think Brazil is going to really come out and being angry after losing to Cameroon and really take it out on the South Koreans.
So we're going to touch a little bit about Portugal, because we can't, before we close off, we're not going to do it all because I know you're probably busy and there's a weekend. So,
well, we have 2 matches left. We have 2 matches left to talk about. We have Morocco, Spain, Portugal, and Switzerland.
Okay. Yeah, all right. We can wrap up on I don't know which one you want to wrap up on.
Let's talk about the Portugal, Switzerland, since you mentioned it. Portugal team is made up of a lot of stars. They're utterly frustrating to watch. I am not a fan of Bruno Fernandes at all. I must put it out there. I think he's too talented to be rolling around on the floor and complaining and just making the game ugly. Just play football already. Let your game talk for you. And that's something that I've always not liked when players roll around on the ground, which is one of the reasons why Neymar is not one of my favorite players. Good player, very skillful, but I think you are too talented to get to start to use gamesmanship. Let your talent speak for you. Play football. So I think Portugal tomorrow, though, I think they do get the better of Switzerland. But I do not think it's going to be an easy game for them. I think it's probably a 1-0, or that game might even go to penalties, which if it goes to penalties, Portugal win, because I think they have better penalty takers. They have experience, and I think they should get the better of Switzerland. But I do think it's going to be a low-scoring game, probably 1-0, 2-1 probably. And yeah, I think Portugal gets by Switzerland.
On the same game, Switzerland is a very good defensive team.
Yes, they are.
And not only that, Switzerland find way to score a goal.
Yes,
they're kind of a little bit different. They're kind of similar in a way to Poland, but they're different. Because Switzerland got midfielders that know how to pass the ball and they know how to score too. So it's not like Poland where they only depend on Lewandowski. So I think Portugal got a big thing up their sleeve for them in that game.
Yeah, I mean Switzerland, because Mbolo, that guy from Cameroon, born in Cameroon, but he plays in Switzerland. He's now a citizen of Switzerland. He's a good player up front, and he might keep them occupied. And once he keeps them occupied, I'm sure Xherdan Shaqiri can actually do some of his creative genius and probably get a goal on Portugal. But I think Cristiano Ronaldo would want to come out and stamp his class tomorrow. If you give him an inch, he's going to take a mile. He wants to score. I'm sure he's seen his nemesis Messi scoring, 3 goals now in the tournament. He probably wants to score a double to catch up with him. So I still think that because of the firepower that the Portuguese have, they should get the better of the Swiss team.
So it's well said. I think that I think probably that's going to be the first game to probably go in extra time.
Yes, I think
To
so.
be honest, I think that's the game that's going to go.
Probably to penalties.
Only probably the first going to go down into the extra time penalty shootout. In that bracket, because it's two good teams. One is full with attacking power and one is full with defense quality.
Yes.
So I think it's going to be a good game, but I think that's one probably go to the extra time to penalty shootout in that.
Right. Yes, that's true. No, as we get into the last 3 minutes of the time that we have here, I'm seeing that the last game tomorrow we can discuss is the Morocco-Spain game. Now, this game is a fitting that we're talking about this game last. Morocco and Spain, countries that are right across the what's it called? Is that the Bering Strait? If my geography is right. I still think on a clear day you can stay in Morocco and look across to Spain. On a clear day. So this is a good game.
Hold on, Mr. Pitnight. Hold on. I got 2 comments here. Yeah. Oh, someone said Ronaldo not gonna score any goal. Up, bro. Much respect, baby. Yes. Yeah, one of the big fan of the channel,
Yes.
It's Lewis, always tuning in. So I have to make sure I'm getting comment across,
Yeah.
Sorry about that, boss. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I mean, we're here to interact with our viewers. So I'm saying that game, Morocco and Spain. Now, the Spanish team, they are one of the most talented team in the competition. Attacking wise, I think how they play, with the pace at which they play and how they move the ball quickly, and they're having a bona fide number 9 in Morata or Ferran Torres playing through the middle. That's a skill that I believe that a lot of teams would have given up on, playing a genuine number 9 through the middle. I think there's space for that type of play in world football. And I think once a team like Spain plays that type of game, quick passes, quick movement in and around the box, I think a lot of goals can be on offer tomorrow. Morocco, however, is no slouch. They are a North African team, very organized compared to the other African team, so they'll not be an easy team to break down. And politically, if you would go back to 200, 300, 400 years ago, know the history between Morocco and Spain. I don't want to get into it because of the politics of it, but that is something that I believe may play a part in tomorrow's game and have the extra fireworks in the game tomorrow. I know Morocco do not want to lose this game to Spain. I know that they don't want to lose, and the Spanish team will believe that they should be able to dominate this Morocco team and make it through. It's not going to be an easy game. It's going to be a close game. The Spanish team will have to dig deep to win this game, mainly because of the history, the political history between these two countries. But I still think the Spanish should have enough to take them through. But if they do win this game, it's probably going to be at a score of about a 1-0 or probably 2-0 over Morocco. Yeah. So I think the Spanish team wins.
Yeah, that's what you said. I know you have to jump off, Mr. Pitnight.
Yes.
And as I said, I think that's gonna be a really good game, to be quite honest. So I'm looking forward to see, because Spain, they keep possession of the ball, but
yes,
they don't do much with it. Only the game against Costa Rica, so moving the ball here and there, but they don't do a lot with it.
Well, so I think they do a lot with it, It's just at the game against Germany, it's Spain versus Germany. That was always going to be a close game. It's just that I think the last game, they would have made a number of changes to give some players a run, which affected how they play. If they go back to how they started the World Cup and play their genuine game, quick, short, snappy passes with a bona fide number 9 through the center, I think very few teams in world football can cope with that. And I think I think this Spanish team should get the better of them. Big up yourself, Rivard Lewis. Big up yourself.
Yeah, man. Yes, one always there, you know.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
man, for real, for real. So the score line for that game.
I would go. I'm gonna be very conservative. 1-0 Spain.
1-0 Spain.
1-0 Spain.
I'm gonna say 2-1 Morocco.
Oh, okay, okay. I see you. I see you. Not being afraid to go out on a limb. I see you.
So I know, Mr. Knight, you have to go, but before you
Yes.
go, for the final, I don't know if you're gonna available. I want to do a
Yes,
giveaway
sure.
show for that one.
Sure.
So
I'll be glued to this World Cup all the way through to the final. So hopefully we can have another touch base before we get into the final four, maybe sometime in midweek. But you'll call me and we can set it up.
yeah, I will call you and we can talk and set it up. But
Yes.
for all our Jamaican viewers, for that the World Cup final, I've been giving away some digital credit or flow credit. Good amount of credit where you guys can probably top up for a little bit. So
Should I get
guys,
the phone? Should I get the
work
phone?
along with us.
Ready?
Yeah, man. I'll take. Yeah, man. But guys, do your World Cup studying because me and Pick Knight, we're gonna be asking a lot of questions. So
Yes.
who can answer the question first in the comment section?
We'll get the credit.
We take care of you off the air. I appreciate you, Mr. Knight, to take the time out, and I will call you off the air. And as usual, and much
Yes,
respect.
big
All
up
the
yourself,
viewers,
Bravan.
thank you
Big up
guys
the
for tuning
viewers.
in.
Big up the person in the comment section. Love the commentary. See you guys in the week.
Yeah, and all right, peace. All right, there you go, guys. That was Mr. Pick Knight, sharing his views. I'm here with you guys for 5 more minutes. That's our World Cup preview. I always want to thank each and every one who tuning in and always tuning in. Mr. Lewis, always here. And no, bro, it's the right shirt, bro, right shirt. We can't switch, can't switch on the last minute. Every team fall out, we always have a different team where we probably want to see lifted. But, it's Brazil on true. I think it's the right shirt. Brazil all the way. I hope you guys tuning in, man, on the World Cup final preview show where, we're going to talk about it and do some little giveaway. Probably you end up get a Brazil shirt too. Star World, you'll probably get a Brazil shirt too, Yeah, but this World Cup, man, we have a lot of surprises so far in this World Cup. Star World, who is your favorite team? Who are you going for? Who are you going for to lift the World Cup? Brazil to the world. That's what I'm saying. Brazil to the world. Yeah, I understand a lot of Jamaicans don't even cheer for Brazil anymore, because of probably Lionel Messi. But Jamaica, the only success Jamaica ever having in football was a Brazilian that led us to the glory land. So we have to stick to who we know. We see how long you support Brazil. To be honest, I've been supporting Brazil since 1994. That's one of the first World Cup I ever really watched. And from then on, I don't think I ever missed a beat of the World Cup. I can give you all the teams that win the World Cup. I do the history. I can give you the history of the World Cup. I've been supporting Brazil because of Ronaldo, the phenomenon, from Brazil. The way how we used to dominate the game and the way how he carry himself on the field make me want to be a football player. So I'm a Brazil fans from those days. One of the saddest moments is when Brazil lose that 1998 World Cup to France. To be honest, I shed tears. No joke. Because that's my World Cup where I really England will win. Well, I'm not gonna say I would love if Brazil don't win it, England win it because of the Jamaican connection. Because the Raheem Sterling, he's born in Jamaica, so we would love to see him lift it, and I know we'll fly the Jamaican flags high. And Kyle Walker that play right back for England, he's a Jamaican descent too. His grandmother or his grandfather was Jamaican, and a few more players that could represent Jamaica, that's representing England. There's a lot of players that represent in England, and there's a lot of players that represent Jamaica could represent England, so vice versa. So, all of Jamaican, we always want to see England do well of the connection. So England all the way too. I would love to see an England and Brazil final. What do you think about that? England and Brazil final, right? Yeah, if if Brazil don't make it, as a lot of people been saying, Brazil not gonna make it, then I hope England do. And if England don't, then I would rather a team that never lifted before lift it. The first World Cup that ever won, well, Brazil will get six from England. I don't think that one possible. I think England got a good team, but Brazil got a magnificent team. So you have a good team, and you got a team that's out of this world with the attacking talent that Brazil got. It's hard for England to score six, and Brazil don't score any. So that one would be a really good game to really watch. So, but I think Brazil would have beat England though. That's just my take on it. But Brazil all the way, and England follow after. Not really. Brazil got the likes of Thiago Silva, one of the greatest leader of all time, in their defense line. They got Casemiro from Manchester United, one of the best central midfielder in the world, and they also got Rafinha, who is very talented. He can always pull something out of his hat. So it's a good looking Brazil team, but as I said earlier, they're not lighting up the World Cup so far. So far I haven't seen they light up the World Cup the way I would want them to. So you're right, Brazil not playing the type of game that I really or we all expect Brazil should be or should do. So let us see on Monday and see how they play, and then we can take it from there. Because if we see a Brazil that turned up, that dominate the game, then we can say Brazil is the favorite. But for me right now, I'm not gonna say Brazil is the favorite. All 16, all no, not 16, because I got two teams go home today. So all 14 teams that left in the tournament have a say, have a chance. Because it was the round of 16. So we got 14 teams left because two went home today. So all 14 teams that left still got a chance. So let us see and see how these games go tomorrow and Monday and Tuesday, and then we can look and see which team have the advantage. Because this one looked like France is like one of the team that Mbappe, he looked like he will have something to prove. So don't let us get carried away on Brazil and England and take our eyes off France, because France is moving like they really, really have something up their sleeve. So we have to be careful with France, to be quite honest, and Japan too, because Japan is playing like they you give somebody and tell them like you got 5 days to complete this job, and Japan is just like, I want to do it in one day. I want to dominate everything that come and get it out of the way. So Japan is playing really good, and they're physically and mentally They're well organized. They're good. France is a good team. Yeah, France is a good team. They without even if you look on France, they got two of the best midfielder in the world out. They got Conte out. They got Pogba out. They got Karim Benzema out. They got Christopher Nkunku out. And who else? They got a lot of players out, to be quite honest. And they still look very, very impressive. And imagine if they did that all their players. And they still look like they're gonna take down every time they play. You can see look like they want to beat every team that come up against them. So we can't sleep on France, to be quite honest. All 14 teams that in the last rounds right here that leave in the tournament from tomorrow on can win the World Cup, to be quite honest. Because I haven't seen any team light up the tournament like you look at it and said, like, this team is the team. We haven't seen that yet. So we can't get carried away on just England and Brazil until we see how the rest of the team go. When it gets the round of 8, with 8 teams left in the tournament, then we probably can start to make our prediction. Because by then we will see who's going home and who is gonna stay, and then you're gonna see, and then you have to remember too, the yellow card is a main factor too. Because if certain player get yellow card tomorrow, they will miss the next round, and then the next round all cards wipe away until if you pick up a card that's a fresh one, and if you pick up one in the semifinal, then you miss the final. So we have to take those things in consideration too. We have to put each and everything in the basket. So you can have key players that gonna be missing. Like tomorrow in the England game, Senegal got one of their key players, their best midfielder. I think he's gonna be out because of 2 yellow cards. So we have to look into those situations too. You know, keep the comments coming. If you guys want me to stay on, keep the comments coming. I will stay on long as we're getting more comments and more likes. And please, guys, help me to share, the channel, and subscribe and share it as much as you can. I really appreciate it. Morning Star World. But so far, it's a well enjoyable World Cup, different from the politics and all what's going on. I enjoy every minute of it. To be quite honest, I can't say that I don't enjoy every minute and every second of this World Cup. Because I do. This World Cup is. I see some fantastic goals. I see some fantastic moments. Even that game, Cameroon versus Brazil, the captain, I don't know how he didn't remember he got that yellow card. And that was a moment for that whole entire nation. Imagine a whole entire country, celebrating that victory that no team from Africa ever beat Brazil in the World Cup. Imagine the whole entire continent of Africa is celebrating that victory. He get carried away, get on a second yellow card and get sent off. Even the referee was showing a heart of love, because he know that it's just a silly mistake and he just have to do his job, the referee. He wish he couldn't give him that card, but that's how it goes, and that's why we love this game and that's why we appreciate it. So no more comments. So it's a hour and 20 minutes since I'm on. So I thank you guys for tuning in, watching your boy GFC Garvin. Yeah, for real, man. I'm telling you, that is a moment that him, and the whole entire Africa, that gonna go down in the history book. That gonna be something that the whole entire Africa gonna sit and talk about for generation and generation. You know, one of the first African to really do it, and in that moment too, and then with the yellow card, it's a sad part for us to see it. He get a red card, but it was a joyful moment to really see the joy on his face, and not only on his face, but the whole entire African nation, continent, name it. You know, it was a real enjoyable moment, to be honest. I'm a Brazilian fan, but I enjoy that moment, to be quite honest. You know, to see the way how he come off the field and all the love he was getting, even from the referees, you know, that's something that we're gonna always remember. That was one of my favorite moments of the World Cup. You know, I really appreciate you guys coming on. You know, I'm gonna wrap up now. So thank you guys for watching your boy GFC Garvin. And please, guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Remember, post it on your social media for me, man. Help your brother get some love. Post it on your Facebook, on your Instagram, wherever you are. Just see if you can post it up there for me. You know, help me to reach 500 subscriber. We're getting there, slowly but surely. But you know, thank you guys. And you know, we're doing some positive talks on the channel too, where we're gonna do some real life thing about the youths and how we can help the youths in the future. You know, so thank you guys for watching your boy GFC Garvin. You know, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Probably tomorrow. I try to do another stream for you guys. Probably won't be this long, but I see what I can do after the games tomorrow and see who I can get on with me. But thank you guys for watching. Peace. I'm out.